Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the Geek Spot. I'm your host, H, also known as Harry, and I'm more or less dusting off this channel trying to see what I could get done in the geek space. So, quick introduction as to what I'm going to do here. So, I have some plans, been thinking about how to really utilize my place in geekdom, and I'm going to use this to talk about a little bit of everything. I'm going to talk a little bit about comic books. I'm going to talk some about gaming, movie reviews, you name it, whatever floats my interest, I'm going to talk about. I want to try to have some variety because I know a lot of us have a lot of interest in different things. So hopefully what I do here and what I show you will be entertaining enough to keep you around. And if some of my friends out there are watching and you have some ideas of stuff to talk about, if you want to join in on the fun, come on in. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and share button. Let everybody know what's going on because, again, this is something new yet old to me, and I want to make sure that what I'm doing is worthwhile. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to talk about comic books today, and my journey in comics has been, I guess, so far, I want to say 3 phases now. This is actually my 3rd phase. So my first phase was when I was much younger. I was a kid back in the 70s collecting comic books. Back then there was no internet. There wasn't any such thing as grading or anything like that. So we just did what we did. And I collected right around till I was about, late teens, early 20s. Income was getting kind of tight, so I had to make a choice between food and comics. So I moved over to adulting, so to speak. And, did that pretty well because obviously I'm here sitting here talking to you. But then I came back into comics, I would say like the late 2000s, early 2010s. Right around that time, you had the Secret Invasion going on. You had, oh my God, I forgot what it was going on in DC. It wasn't Flashpoint. Flashpoint was a little bit after, but you had a lot of good stuff going on between Marvel and DC, and Image was really starting to hit its stride. I think Walking Dead had just been introduced around about that time. So that's about the time when I really started picking back up on comic books. And I was doing stuff. Matter of fact, this is part of why I am where I am now, through cosplay and things of that sort, because, with that I had a podcast, I was doing weekly comic books, was doing a little bit of everything, and it all just kind of fizzled out, I guess, around 2016 or so. 2016, 2017 was when I stopped getting regular comics. And I have to say, I stopped getting comics weekly because, one, it was hitting the wallet pretty hard. I wasn't seeing like a lot of good comics like I was used to seeing. And when it got to a point where I was getting comics weekly and wasn't even reading them, and then going back and trying to figure it out, I was like, yeah, I need to pull back. So I would say at one point, I was so deep into collecting comics, I was up to maybe like 8 or 9 long boxes full of everything, signed comics, special grades, variants, a lot of, honestly, just a lot of fluff. And within the past 2 weeks or so, I took the time to purge a lot of that. Matter of fact, I purged over the years, but I finally made it down to where I actually have 1 long box left and maybe 2 or 3 short boxes. And that's where I'm going to kind of keep it. So I guess as I enter this 3rd phase now, to the point where, I have stuff that's graded, I have a library full of older comics. I'm at the point now where I'm really picky about what I choose. So what I'm choosing now, choosing like a lot of older titles, stuff that's going to hold value for those that like to invest, and a lot of stuff that meant near and dear to me when I was coming up. So I'm not really out to like try to keep current, so it is what it is. But what I do find that I still do enjoy collecting trade paperbacks. As a matter of fact, you can kind of see right behind me over here, I've more or less reestablished my library. It's not a lot, but I do know back when I was getting trades, you know, I had to have some place for them. And as I was pulling them back out to make another shelf space for them, I realized, okay, I had a lot of stuff that I enjoyed that, hey, trades are the way to go for me, because you get a lot more bang for your buck. You have like a nice collected series of stories that will take a little bit longer to read than an average comic book. So yeah, so with this channel, like I said, I'm going to do some reviews. I may do like a weekly what am I reading cast, or as I pick up stuff. And today, also by it being May the 4th, May the 4th be with you day, happy Star Wars Day, I'm going to make a selection of some trades, like for those of you out there that want to get into trades, or you know, stuff that you should probably be picking up. I got a little bit of old, a little bit of new, and some Star Wars theme. So I'm going to start off with Batman Hush by Jim Lee, Jeff Loeb, Scott Williams. This was one of the first trades I picked up when I started getting trade paperbacks, and excellent work with Jim Lee throughout, trying to solve the mystery of who is Hush? What's Hush all about? Why is there this guy running around Gotham with this wrapping on? And it's a very good series. And as I was going through my items, I realized I had two versions of the first edition and the second one. And I really enjoyed it, and yeah, it's a classic. If you can get your hands on it, well, you should be able to get your hands on it. It's a trade paperback. Get your hands on Hush, read it, enjoy it. It's great. Artwork and the story to me were phenomenal. Now, the second one I'm going to talk about is also Batman related, and it is Absolute Batman. And this is something that's current right now in the DC universe. I heard a lot of buzz about it. And I said, well, you know what? I see they got Absolute Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. I'm at least going to start with Batman, see if I like it. Didn't think I was going to like it. This is off the hook. This is off the hook. I really enjoyed the story. Scott Snyder and Mick Dragotta. The art style, very kinetic, very fresh. In certain ways, it reminds me of The Dark Knight Returns from the 80s, Frank Miller's book, in that you had a very gritty, very visceral Batman who just went to extremes. So you have to remember, this isn't like the de facto Batman. That de facto, I guess you want to say Earth 1, Earth 0, that Batman still exists. This is an alternate Batman. Parent origins are different. Bruce Wayne's origins are different. He didn't grow up to be the rich kid, but he still had what makes Batman Batman. And he faces off with Black Mask, and Black Mask is just bonkers in what he's doing. I enjoyed the story. I'm going to make it a point to get my hands on volume 2 this week. And yeah, if I want to stay current on what's going on with Batman, what's really popular right now in the DC universe, Absolute Batman cannot miss. So this third book, I'm recommending it blindly, and that is Storm, the Earth's Mightiest Mutant. And I also have Thunder Wars floating around by Morel Adeyele and Lucas Wernick. I've not read it yet, but I've heard a lot of good things. One of my friends, George, was picking up the floppies last year, and it's pretty much what would happen if you truly made Storm recognize her true potential and become a goddess. And she took on Dr. Doom and so many others. And when my friend George told me about it, I said, you know what, I gotta try this out. So I like the story. I looked at the trade, I saw the art. The art is really beautiful in here, nice and colorful. It fits. And that's one of the things I've seen over the years with many different versions of Storm. Like, she was just never really well written. I don't think a lot of writers could get a good handle on her. And from what I've heard this time around, someone's finally got an idea of what Storm should do. So I do plan on giving it a good read and seeing if they were right. So my last recommendation for this week, because of course it's May the 4th, and as you see I do have Star Wars themed shirt on, is of course Star Wars Marvel's Volume 2. So let me be specific, this is Volume 2 of Marvel. So when Marvel got the rights back and said that they were coming out with the comics, and they was redoing the comics again, back in, was it 2014, 2015, I was really excited because I know the original run, the original run back in the 70s and 80s, in my opinion, were hit and miss because, you know, if you remember hearing the stories, they didn't have a lot, you know, the writers and the creators of the comics didn't have a lot of direction from George Lucas as to what they could and couldn't do, or actually they did. So they were kind of left to their own vices. And when Disney, of course, took everything over, said they was going to put out a new set of Star Wars books, the biggest thing was a lot of the stuff was going to be canon. So whatever you read in the books, just kind of, you know, take it to the bank, because that's going to be part of the story. It's going to fill in a lot of holes. And I was really happy with the work that Jason Aaron did and Kieran Gillian. This is a must read for any Star Wars fan. I still actually have my my floppies. I still have my original comics from that run. And then the companion piece, which I have as well, as far as the trade, Darth Vader, they worked so well with the synergy, because I always felt like if both of those books came out at the same time, you could read Star Wars, and then Darth Vader was like, meanwhile, this is what's going on with the Empire. They fit so well. They were very enjoyable. And on a day like today, May the 4th, Star Wars, the trade paperback, if you can find the Epic Collection, get the Epic Collection. Get also the Epic Collections of Darth Vader. I'm still trying to put a lot of that together, because I got a couple of them, then I got a couple of the smaller trades, which you could kind of see a little bit behind me, but they are very well done. The artwork was great, and I read them, I hear the voices, I hear the music, I love it. So at that point, I'm going to stop and ask again, hit that like and subscribe button, drop some comments below. Matter of fact, for me, if you got any recommended trade paperbacks I should be checking out, drop some stuff like that in the comics. I'm gonna take a look at them and go on your recommendations. Hopefully I have something else that might drop this week as well. I got another friend of mine. We're going to talk a little bit about some gaming stuff. And on that note, I want to thank you all for supporting, and we are out.